our 100th episode of All or Nothing in Real Estate. Welcome back to another episode of All or Nothing in Real Estate. I'm your host, Matt Smith, founder of All or Nothing in Real Estate. This podcast is a movement to give back to this amazing industry that's given so much to me and my family. We have a very, very special episode for you today, and we have a special guest behind the camera. Speaking of giving this business has given so much to my family, we actually have my oldest daughter here watching our 100th episode of All or Nothing in Real Estate. Addie, do you want to say hi to anyone? Hello. She said hello if you didn't hear. So she's in here taking it all in. It's just amazing to see where real estate has taken me and my family, and just really want to unpack that for everyone today in our 100th episode. Colin, can you believe that?
100 episodes. It's crazy to think that it's been that quick, but the impact that this podcast has had on the industry in general, we realize we have to celebrate this. Yes. We have to break this down. A lot of people have asked the story, the benefits of the podcast, the ways that we've been able to change lives, some of the lessons that we've learned. We're like, well, heck, let's make an episode. Let's celebrate 100 and let's share it all in one place. And
I think there's so many lessons that we'll unpack, but I would like to start here, Colin. I don't know what you have on your agenda, but I've just been reflecting on a lot of things. And I think it's crazy to think 100 episodes, it's a lot, especially when you think like we've done one a week consistently. Yeah. We haven't missed a week, right?
Not a single one.
So that's 2 years. For those of you that don't know how many weeks there are in a year, that is 2 years of nothing but contributing, nothing but sharing, adding value, giving and giving and giving. And I say that not to feel sorry for us. I have a choice. I love doing it. But I think it's a great reflection point as everybody's going into the new year of how many things do you really give that much dedication and effort to in your life for that amount of time. I think we live in an instant gratification society. We have so many things in the palm of our hand. We have so many things that are like, I get my smartphone right here. I can find out anything instantly.
Right.
And we just have this instant gratification where I want the result today. I want it now. And I think a lot of times we forget that success takes time, and anything worth doing is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to get better. You're supposed to have tough times. And I think that for me, this is just a great reflection of 2 years of consistent effort, of staying true to the mission of we're not selling anything. We are not asking anything from anyone. We are just going to contribute at the highest level that we possibly can. This is just being transparent, but this has cost me tens of thousands of dollars to host, and I haven't asked for a penny. And I think it's just really cool to see what that's turned into, which we'll break down later in the episode, of just giving and giving and giving. People have asked us to give more, give at a more in-depth level. And we have some pretty exciting news to share of what that's contributed to. But I think it's just a lesson for a lot of people of what have you been consistent in your life that was important to you for 2 years straight, day in, day out, without the expectation of result, without your hand out saying, give me, just give. Reciprocity, give without the expectation of anything in return. And I think it's really cool to sit back and reflect and see what that has evolved into with this project, with this idea of, hey, maybe people want to listen. Maybe we can help more people. And it's just continued to evolve and grow. And we're at 10,000 downloads now?
Actually, I reran the numbers because I wasn't tracking them correctly. 22,000 downloads to date across all platforms. I forgot to count our YouTube downloads where all our episodes are. 22,000 downloads, which was like, whoa, okay.
It's insane.
Isn't it?
All organic, not paid.
Yep.
Just contributing, just sharing. And it's just crazy to see what that's turned into. So, 100%. And again, we've got a really cool, I'll just call it a really cool thing to share towards the end of this episode of what that all has evolved to. But I just want to share, that was kind of on my heart of, I think there's a lot of people, new year, new me. You know how I feel about all of that. My daughter's in the room, so I'll keep that PG. But those of you that have followed for a while, I just don't believe you need a new year to be a new you. I think you just make a choice. I want to change. change, right? Like it's that simple, but we like to overcomplicate it and we don't like to consistently put in the work to wait for the result.
Right.
And I think that this is just a great analogy or story of what happens, the opportunities that can truly be created, the momentum you can create in your life. If you're dedicated to a mission, you're dedicated to contribution, and you do it consistently over time.
100%. The more complicated you make it, the more excuses you have, because you're like, I don't have all the information to put together.
Dude, I think sometimes we make it complicated on purpose so we can't have an excuse.
100%. Yeah.
We come up with these complications so that we can have an excuse not to do what we know we need to do.
Well, I feel productive because I'm working on the thing that I'm going to work on.
You feel busy.
Exactly. Precisely. That it's like, if I convince myself that I'm making progress by working on it, then I don't have to do the thing.
Dude, I had 2 coaching calls today with some of my coaching clients, and one of the conversations led to quit wearing busy like a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. What high performers do is they don't try to be busy. They are productive. You don't get paid for the work that you do. Let me say that again. You quit trying to be busy, start being productive. Mm-hmm. You don't wear busy like a badge of honor. You don't get paid for the work that you do. You don't get paid for the work that you do. You get paid for the result that work brings. Mm-hmm. So focus on the result. What is the outcome that you desire? What is the productivity that you're trying to accomplish? Strive to be productive, not busy. There's so many people that live their life in this chaos, in this storm of busy, and they carry it around like, I'm so busy, and want people to feel like, give them around. Congratulations, you're busy. Like you don't get a trophy for that. You don't get a championship belt for I'm the busiest. What result did you deliver?
Right.
And that's what the universe rewards. So quit trying to be busy, start being productive.
100%. I want to wind back to something that you were saying earlier about the piece of contribution. When you first pitched this idea to me for a podcast, it was like, I want to do a podcast to be able to help people in the industry. I'm like, all right, cool. So what's the end goal? You're like, I already said it. I want to help people in the industry. I was like, well, where's the conversion rate? Like, are we selling t-shirts? Like, where's the end? You're like, no, this industry has given so much to me. I want to give back. And then I was like, okay, let's do it. I've never seen anyone do that before. And then seeing that over and over, give. Exactly like you said, we've received back tenfold in that we've had people join our team. We've had speaking opportunities. That so much has come out of it. Purely because it's been a give mentality.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like people may think, hey, the intro is a tagline. No, the intro is my heart and where this all came from, right? And Colin is a man of integrity. He wouldn't be here to like stroke my ego with, hey, this is where, like, that was the conversation that we had.
Yes.
And that was the end goal was help.
Yes.
How can we help more people? I think that I'm at a spot in my journey where I can help other people get to where they want to go in their journey. Now, do I know it all? Absolutely not. I'm learning each and every day, but I'm also willing to share and to contribute. And because I give, guess what? I gain more each and every day.
100%. So you want to, I'm curious where this all began. Where did the idea for All or Nothing in Real Estate even come from for those who aren't familiar with it?
So I could go a lot of different ways. What are you fishing for there? What are you looking for?
Really the heart behind it. And we've talked a little bit about it, but why even bother making a podcast at all?
Man, it's this business has transformed my life forever. I've told stories on this show of times that my life was hard. It was rough. When Addie, who's in the room, funny enough, was a baby. And we had the tough story of taking her in to tell her mom her goodbyes because her mom was really, really sick. She pulled through. Everything's great. But, like, there's been a lot of hard things in life. And this business has taught me so much and has just given me not just financial opportunities, but just the opportunities to meet amazing people that have contributed to my journey and have helped me become the version of the person that I am, a better dad, a better husband, a better entrepreneur, a better leader, every aspect of life. And I just believe that good people win, and I want to do more good, and I want to help more people, and I want to give back to those that have helped me. And I think that without people stepping out on a limb to help me, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And maybe I can be that for someone else.
Love that. I think that perfectly represents your heart, the why behind the the whole podcast
Yeah.
movement. It's been neat to see the fruit. Speaking of the fruit, let's break down some of the big wins of it, and we can do some of the
well, you just
tools and booths.
dropped a bombshell on me, man. I was thinking we were like 9,800 views or something. I'm like, man, how do we get to 10,000 by our 100th? And it's 22,000.
I wanted to get your reaction live.
I love
thought that
it.
would be good.
I love it.
yeah, literally more than double.
Addie, do you know 22,000 people? I don't either. That's a lot of people.
It is. Yeah. No, and that many lives changed that then have gone out and are paying it forward too with a ripple effect.
Well, I say this like, I don't know how to say it other than I've seen what this movement has done for those that have listened, those that have tuned in, those that have been guests on the show.
Yep.
But there's also more other versions of all or nothing in real estate that I see popping up in the circles that I run in.
100%.
And I have the mindset of like, some people may think, oh, they're going to be there's no competition in contribution, right? Like, I'm like, heck yeah, right? That's really hard for me to say. My daughter's in the room. But that's like, it's amazing for me to see this be inspiration for others that I know have good hearts, that I know want to help more people, to give them the permission that they can do it too, right? And it's just amazing to see that happen. Like, I literally, it was in a Facebook group that I'm a part of, a very, very exclusive elite group that I'm a part of. It's by invitation only, less than 300 people in this group in the world. And I'm very privileged to be one of those. And one of them, he said, vulnerable post from the new guy to the group. And he was talking about, thank you to everyone that has paved the path of showing that givers win, that contribution wins. Because these group of 300 people, they're the elite in this business. And they all realize, like this newcomer realized that he saw everyone in this group that's winning at extraordinary levels.
Yes.
The common thing they have in common is they all give without asking for anything in return. And so he used that as a way that he could take his superpower, which is training, and how he could train other people in his community that weren't on his team, that weren't in his brokerage. And the impacts of that, the ripple effects of that have been amazing for him. And he was just kind of telling that story and sharing. And it was just really cool. And I commented on like, dude, me seeing you do that is such an inspiration for me to keep going. And it challenges me to step it up to give even more, right? Like, so thank you for mentioning that, but also thank you for doing that and sharing, because you're inspiring other people too. And he commented back, he's like, well, thank you for leading the way, right? And it's like, it's not just me, right? Without these other people, I don't do it either,
right?
But it's just really cool to see that ripple effect of what that creates. And like, go to his town now. How many agents have better training, better skills, better opportunity, can help serve the clients that we have the privilege of serving each and every day with the biggest purchase or sale of their life at a higher level, simply because he chose to contribute.
Something about that piece with these people expressing how much the community has poured into them. Being a giver, going all in, is very intimidating for a lot of people, because it's been abused in the past. That it's like, I give, and a taker comes in and steals all of it. And so putting all of your secrets out there is such a scary endeavor, because you've seen people overtake it. And a lot of those people, the mentality can be, well, takers win. And I will say, there is a certain subset of takers that win, but they win at this level. The givers, all the elite circles, the ones that you're in, the ones that you were seeing that have poured into you, they're up here. If you want to hit this, you have to be a giver.
Dude, there's so much there. So write this down so we can go to this next, the all or nothing mindset. Where did I come up with the name?
Got it.
Talk about that. But let's talk about givers versus takers. And I've experienced this in my own life, and I'm not perfect. I've struggled with that exact thing. Like, I'm giving everything.
Yes.
And some people in my life are just taking. And they're not appreciative, and they're not that, but I'm not doing it for them. I'm giving because I want to give. And here's the conversation. It's so funny you mentioned this. I just had a conversation with one of my good friends, my coach, my mentor, Jon Cheplak. We were having a private conversation yesterday. We were texting in the morning, and then we had 2 phone calls about it, because it really resonated with both of us, which is just not normal, right? He's a very busy man, but I could tell that it meant something to him too. And we were talking about I don't want to call them haters, because I think that's overused, but just the people that maybe are talking smack or talking trash or whatever, right? About him, about me, whatever it may be. And he said something that was very interesting. He said, you know what? Rise above it. Stay above it. The trash always takes itself out. I'm like, ooh, I love that. I love it.
I like that quote.
But what we all, so that was like the funny part of it, but we really went into the depth of it, and where it really we closed the loop on that conversation went to the fact that, you know what, if those takers are winning, we still did our job.
Mm-hmm.
We gave, and they're in a better spot because of us.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that are small-minded, and I struggle with this, so I'm small-minded at times, think that how dare them take from me, but that is selfish. I gave it to them so that they could be better. Are they better? Do they have more opportunity? Do they have more abundance in their life? Do they have more? I think they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I did it. What they choose to do with that is on them, not on me.
Mm-hmm.
My job isn't to give them the information and then hold them tight to where I receive from that information I gave them. It's to give them the information so that they can grow whatever aspect they want to grow in. And I think what it really boils down to is that Simon Sinek says this, is it's the finite game versus the infinite game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where a lot of people see takers as winners, I think that's a great analogy, because it's very easy on the surface to see someone taking that wins quickly.
Instant gratification.
They win instantly. They win quickly, and they win at a pretty high level.
Yep.
But what you don't see is where are they 3 years from there?
Yeah.
Because the person that's continually giving behind the scenes is already winning at that level, and then they just surpass them 10x, 100x, 1,000x, because they're playing the game that doesn't end.
100%.
What I've realized is I used to play this game of life, play this game of fitness, play this game of relationships, play this game of finance to get to an end goal. The end goal is how can I continually get better? It's an internal game, not an external game. It's not how do I make $1 million. It's not how do I sell 100 houses. It's not how do I get a six-pack abs. It's how do I become the best version of myself. And when you are chasing that constantly, you will never, ever catch it. And I'll tell you, life is way better that way.
1,000%. I think it's interesting on that. We're talking about that instant gratification. You can see it where someone manipulates a relationship and wins a contract or something like that. They're like, they screwed someone over. They got that instant cash payout. Hey, sweet. They won in that short term. But what did they do? They ruined the relationship. So as far as that relationship moving forward, no, never again. They looked at it as disposable.
One and done.
Versus if you approach it in a different way and go, actually, I'm going to lose money on this particular piece or not get nearly what I'm going to get out of it. But you're not playing that. You're looking at long. And this isn't just Matt specifically. This is the culture that we've cultivated here with this piece of, hey, the client, the lives change is what we're looking for at the end of the day.
Well, and I think that, man, there's so much there I could unpack. So let me try to keep it brief.
Yeah.
So I want to try to speak to everyone, an agent or a leader.
In anything in life.
But let's be relative to real estate,
of course.
Right? And so let me try to relate this because I've experienced both. As an agent and as a leader, I've experienced exactly what you're describing. As an agent, you can put in insert buyer, seller, client. As a team leader, insert agent.
Yep.
Right? How many times do you lose out on that deal, that recruit, that sale, whatever aspect it is, because someone else overpromises, someone else does it for cheaper or says that I'll list your house with me because I already have 3 buyers when they don't, right? Whatever these things that are, or overpromise as an agent, come here, I'll give you 125% of your commission, right? Whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Whatever those things, here's what I will tell you I've learned. It is tough to lose that battle. But are you fighting the battle or are you fighting the war? Right? This is a long journey. Life is a long journey. And it's not about the loss the loss you took today to that person who had to manipulate the situation in order for them to win. I promise you, the universe, your faith, whatever it is you believe in, what goes around comes around. And I think that ties into another aspect. It's really funny that I'm living a life of my dreams, right? And I think that I actually took my mom to our lake house, took her out on our boat, and we were talking about we're struggling to come up with a name for our boat. And she said, I know what it needs to be. And I'm like, what is it? She said, you need to name your boat Karma. I'm like, that's a weird name for a boat. She's like, yeah, most people think karma is negative. She said, but what I think is karma is you get back what you put out there. And you guys have put out so much good in this world. The karma that you got is that you have this boat, you have this lake house, you have this life. And so I just think that's a really cool perspective, right? On you get what you give. And I think that if you just play the long game and don't let those onesies, twosies, that one that you lost the battle, pick yourself up, wipe yourself off, keep acting with integrity, keep providing value. Go back to the 100th episode analogy. Have you done it for 100 days?
Yeah.
Have you done it for 100 weeks? And have you done it consistently? Because that's when you can look back and say, all right, am I actually seeing traction in this?
Right. I love that she chose the name karma because that even says when you look at the things, the wonderful moments that you've been able to achieve something really great, where is your heart when you look at it?
Yes.
You don't look at the boat and go, man, I'm so great. Like I got all this, and that. You're like, wow, how wonderful is it that all this that I've been blessed to be able to give is now blessing me in return.
That's right.
Like that's immediately where your heart goes when you say karma.
Yep.
I like that. Let's talk a little bit about the all or nothing mindset and then go into some of the consistency piece. Because I think we're talking a lot about some of the huge benefits of this, but then also how can people create this in their own life, whether it's a podcast or something similar as far as that consistency every single day. So
yeah, so all or nothing mindset. So it's a weird name, all or nothing in real estate.
Yeah.
But I learned a long time ago, my belief is that everything starts with mindset. And what you think, you become. Right? And so what is your internal dialogue with yourself, right? If you say you can't, you can't. Say you can, you can.
Yep.
Right? Like it's really simple. But we try to overcomplicate it. And so I thought, what is it that is in my mind that I trick myself and manipulate my own brain that I can accomplish anything? Because I truly believe that I can. I just do.
Yeah.
I've earned that confidence with myself. It's weird to even say it. Because I'm a very humble guy. It's weird to say that. Like I didn't even think and process that, but obviously I feel it.
Yes.
And I boiled it down to whenever I do something, whenever I say I'm going to do something, I give it my all or I don't do it. And so I think that a lot of times we half-ass things, right? We just give things half-hearted effort and we say we tried.
Yes.
And we use that as an excuse that if we only gave half the effort and it fails, we have a good excuse that people can't make fun of me because, well, it wasn't really that important anyway. Let me use a real example. 75 hard.
Yes.
It was the third or fourth time that I did it. And I was on, I don't know, we were recording one of these. And we were on week 2 of it. And you said, well, do you think you'll finish this time? I said, absolutely. It's done.
Yes.
It's already finished. It's just a matter of time. Right? And it's because I've adopted the all or nothing mindset. Before I decided I was going to do it, it was already done. It wasn't an option. Zero options mentality. If it's really important to you in your life, give it your all. And if you don't have the capacity, the willingness, the know-how to give it your all, don't waste your time half-assing it. Right? Like, why are you doing things half-hearted? Don't just dip your toe in the water. Jump in.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you jump in and the water's cold, get back out, dry yourself off, and jump in another lake, right? We all fail each and every day. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. I did a very vulnerable video yesterday that's going to our local community about my prediction of the housing market. Inside of the video, I said, you know what? You can come back to me 6 months from now, and if I'm wrong, pie in my face. I will tell you I made a mistake. However, that doesn't take away from how much I believe this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have that conviction. I believe if you're going to do something, you got to give it your all. I think I could give so many examples, but there's so many people that live their life. They're like a zombie, walking around just trying things, giving half-hearted efforts. There's no passion. They don't have a mission. They don't have values. They're just like living life on accident. And I'm like, I want to do something on purpose. I want to act with intent. And when I do something, I want to give it all of my effort. And when I realize if you give it all your effort, even if it doesn't work, you still learn so many lessons and you're way better off because of it.
100%. That piece, the word try, it's we treat it as a cuss word around here because it's so damaging. Because what you're saying is...
I thought you almost dropped the D-bomb. I thought Colin cussed for the first time.
No.
Damaging.
But my point being that it's like you're giving yourself permission to fail before you even start. So your mindset is already... I can fail this and it's fine because I prefaced it with saying I'm trying it. And so, hey, if I get it, cool. And if I don't, who cares because I'm trying.
What do you think the likelihood of that person accomplishing whatever it is?
0. Like, or very,
less than 5%,
very low.
right?
Yes.
Right? Like, versus someone that says, Colin, here's what I'm going to do. Here's my plan. And I'm going to accomplish A, B, C by X, Y, Z. Yep. I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. What are the chances that I do it?
Like 100% when you built that promise with yourself that you won't back down on it when you're fully committed. And that's why we named it All or Nothing in Real Estate, because everything came down to that, to mindset. Came to, are you committed to real estate? Are you committed to this real estate?
Are you committed or are you interested? Are you interested in selling real estate? Are you interested in making more money? Are you interested in changing your life? Or are you effing committed?
Yes.
Nothing is going to get in my way. Mm-hmm. I'm going to live life by design, live a life of my dreams for myself, for my family, for my daughter that's in the room listening to this right now because I owe it to her. And nothing's going to stop me.
100%.
Like, why are people afraid to say that? Mm-hmm. Well, Matt, what if you do something and you fail tomorrow? I'll get back up and try again. Right? Like, but I know if I just give myself an out and an excuse that, well, it's okay, I did my best. Participation trophies have ruined this world, right? Mm-hmm. Like I teach my daughter, guess what? There's winners and there's losers. And if you lost, you probably learned a lesson. Try harder next time. Go practice. Mm-hmm. Go be better and we'll win next time. That's all right. We lose. We learn. We get better. And because of our losses, we will be better winners. Mm-hmm. So dust yourself off and let's get to work.
Because of our losses, we will be better winners. I like that. Oh, man, there was a piece with this that I wanted to touch on. I cannot.
I threw them off.
I lost it. I'm sure I'll come up with it a little bit later. But yeah, no, that all or nothing. Oh, I remember now. That's the metaphor behind this because someone who doesn't understand this, it can be very difficult to grasp for the first time because I've had those conversations with people and it bounces off. But you see when it clicks. One of my favorite metaphors for this is when we're talking about this all or nothing mindset, it's like, well, how can I make that happen? Think of it like a promise to a friend for coffee or like a promise to your child, I will be there at your baseball game. Yep. I promise I will be there. What happens when you don't show up?
They're disappointed.
Yeah, 100%. What happens to trust?
Yeah, it's gone.
Gone, broken, and it goes down. What if you say, I'm so sorry, I'll do it next time, I'll try to be there? It's like, suddenly I don't believe you. If you keep breaking those promises to someone else, now treat that yourself the same way.
So true.
Make that promise to yourself, that all or nothing thing. I promise to myself that I'm going to do this thing and then follow through on it. And what you'll start to do, just like you would build trust with your kid or your friend of, hey, I promise I'll be there and I show up. What happens to trust? Up. Goes straight, like it improves. So you build trust with a friend, you can build trust with yourself. That then you start believing what you're saying. Ooh. When you say, I'm going to do this, you don't think in the back of your mind, well, I'm kind of trying it. No, like when I asked you, how do you feel about 75 hard? You knew without any doubt in your mind because you built that trust.
Yep, because I trust myself.
Yes.
And so many people, trust, belief, I think are two parts of the equation. Mm-hmm. But if you add trust in yourself and you truly believe yourself, you know what that creates? Confidence in yourself. Mm-hmm. How many people in today's society don't have confidence in themselves? And they're looking at external factors for them to get that confidence. And I'm telling you right now, nobody else can do it for you. Mm-hmm. You have to do it yourself. My daughter's in the room, and I'm going to risk talking about this to where she'll be mad at me, but it's because I love her. If she was playing basketball a few years back and she wanted to quit, She wanted to quit because it was hard, because they weren't winning, because of different things. And Colin asked her earlier, yeah, my dad teaches me lessons all the time. And so this was one of those lessons, is that we're not quitters in this family. We made a commitment to ourselves and to our teammates that we would be here to help them. And so you're going to push through. How many of us don't do that in our own lives? Not just to our teammates, to Colin's analogy, not just to our friends, not just to our families, but what about most importantly to ourselves? Our internal dialogue to ourselves is pitiful. If we talk to others like we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends.
100%.
So be nice to yourself, but be nice to yourself by keeping your word and your commitments you make to yourself.
100%. And having practiced that, I guarantee your daughter's going to be a phenomenal leader because she's been building that strength already. Like, she is a huge step above others who said no earlier.
Well, quick example, let me brag on her. So we went to a family, she had a school field trip, and me and her mom went to go hang out with her with chaperones, whatever they called it. And it was very interesting to see and witness some of her friends from school that I'd never met before. Guess who was the leader of that group of friends that we were chaperoning?
I think I have a good guess.
Everyone asked, they said Addie's name 1,000 times, right? And they're like, hey, Addie, can we go look at this now? Hey, Addie, did you see that? Hey, Addie, come take a picture of me with this. And it was really cool to see that she is already kind of the leader of the pack of her friends just because of some of those lessons that she has learned and she's applied in her life. As little as it is I think she was in 5th grade, maybe 5th grade. I think it was 5th grade at that time. But I say this all the time. Everyone is a leader to someone in their life. What are the lessons that you're teaching the people that you are leading, right? And so I think there's so many lessons untied in that, but it's just a really cool story how that runs full circle.
Yeah.
Colin, I'd like to get back to the episode and go to let's talk about some milestones, some wins, some things that this 100th episode, let's celebrate some. What are some things that have happened from this movement?
I mean, so many things, so much fruit has come out of it. So many lives have been changed. Some that stand out to me specifically is when the numbers started to translate to real people. Because it can be easy. Well, it's super easy when you're starting out anything, when you have the lower numbers. Like, let's say 7 people, watch your podcast or your episode or something like that. Versus if you convert those into people, if you say, well, if 7 people showed up to a speech of yours and were in that room, would you be excited about that? You're like, well, yeah, that would be pretty cool. And it's like, making that connection that these 7 people, this 7 views are real people. When we started to meet those, it switched. It made those numbers way more important.
Well, and I think that let's go back to consistency, which you mentioned earlier, right? Like, anytime you start anything new, it's not going to take off overnight.
No.
Right? It's not going to. I don't care who you are. Don't believe all the stories. It takes all these overnight successes that you hear. What you didn't see is the 10 years of work they put in before you saw their overnight success.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it's just so important that we use this as an analogy of, our very first podcast, had 3 views.
Yep.
Right?
And I was one of them.
Right? And I was the other. Yeah. Right? But over time, we consistently poured value. We consistently contributed. And it just grows organically if you build a community, a movement of giving and contributing. But without that consistency, you don't get to see that momentum. And I think too many times we rob ourselves in our own life of that, whether it's any aspect of life. It could be your business, could be your relationships, could be your fitness, could be your health, could be anything in life. But how many times do we rob ourselves of the gift of that momentum of consistency because we don't have enough patience, or we want that instant gratification? Like a real life example is, I remember when we started our team, Matt Smith Real Estate Group. It's a really long name.
Yep.
Our very first agent, we were with a different brokerage at the time. And as we were making calls, building this brand, I caught him using the brokerage name and not the team name, Ryan, not to call anyone out, but because it was
best
just more
friends. It's all good.
Yeah, he's still with us. Still a great agent. It's just, I like to pick on him, but it was just easier because. And I said, why'd you say this brokerage's name versus our team? He said, well, every time I say it's Ryan with Matt Smith Real Estate Group, they're like, who?
Yeah.
He said, nobody knows who we are. I said, and that's exactly why we say it. They need to know who we are. this is why did we start our team?
Yep.
Why are we doing this? This isn't going to be easy. But one day, everyone's going to know who we are. But it starts with who we talked about today, right? And now our brand outsells that big brand in our market. Like, I would say 100 to 1. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but that's pretty close.
Yes.
Right? And it's not to talk down on any brands.
No.
It's just to show the importance of it takes time. And you will call people, and they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
People don't know what all or nothing in real estate is, and that's perfectly fine. But there are people that know this and listen to every single episode.
Yep.
Because we're building a brand, we're building a movement, and it takes time.
100%.
So apply that to any area of your life is my point.
100%. We can apply it to fitness, any number of those things, instant six-pack abs. Going back to the big wins, I'm curious, what are some of your favorite wins that the podcast has had, the whole movement?
It's just, I still think it's really amazing that I get to, I run into people or I hear from people randomly all the time, like, just say thank you, right? It just really helps keep me going. Right? Like that, I'm not gonna lie, like it's tough to just give and give and give and not see any results, right? Even for me that I feel like I have a very strong mindset, it is tough. So I get it. I get it why people give up. But just because they didn't like your post doesn't mean they didn't see it, doesn't mean they didn't get value from it. Right? And so I think that just giving and giving and giving, and like it's just so cool to see the people to just reach out and just say thank you. You know, I think that's probably the biggest fulfillment for me is seeing that it's actually helping other people, and seeing the impact that it's made in their business, their lives. Talk about like the experiences that I've had because of this. I've spoken in 3 countries now on big stages, which is just amazing. And you could say I could have done without All or Nothing. Maybe it's because of our real estate brand, but having All or Nothing running alongside of it has absolutely helped. Contributed to it. And so I just think that, like, I've spoken in Canada, I've spoken in Mexico, in Cabo, and I'm speaking in Cabo again in February, March.
Get your tickets now.
February or March, yeah. Come check it out. If you want more information on that, send me a message and I'll give you some. But in addition to that, like I've spoken. I don't even know how many.
Heck, you created your own event, the Summit Success. That
Success Summit, yeah. Had our own event. We're at Damon West. Come and speak. A nationally known speaker. Come and speak at our event. I've over 10 events that I spoke at this year. Right. I need to probably count them all and recap. But been all over the world speaking and sharing my message, and it's just really, really cool to see how an idea of a small town kid that just wants to help people, what it can grow into.
And that's that giver's mentality, that it's just like give. Wow, okay, everyone likes what I'm giving.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not for everyone, right? Like I've said on this podcast before, if you don't like what I say, don't listen. Yeah. Right? I'm not for everyone, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But the people that do resonate, that's who I'm talking to, and I want to help them.
100%. It's been very neat to see the amount of people that we've been.
I remember the first time on the show, Colin's very reserved, if you don't know, and I said, and if you don't like what I'm saying, change the channel. Don't listen. And Colin's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Everyone's going to leave. It was like, good. If they're not here for it, then what's the name of the podcast? I went, oh, right, All or Nothing.
Well, I mean, I had someone, like I got a private group for All or Nothing. If you're not a part of that, you're listening and you want some more exclusive content, make sure you join that. Again, send us a message. Colin will drop in the show notes. But go ahead and, here's a real life example. Someone commented, I was sharing a podcast with Will Grimes, who was a just phenomenal guest. Like I've listened to that episode 4 times for myself. I was there, right? Yeah. But it's just, he's just dropped so much knowledge. And so I shared it with the group. And keep in mind, it's my group. And I tagged everyone, and he replied back to it and said, I'd appreciate you not spamming me with your podcast. And all of you that are in the group went after this guy and said, you need to listen to this. You need to listen to this podcast or leave this group. And so it's just really cool to see, like, who you attract, the right people. Like, I don't at everyone every day, but it's like that episode can change someone's life.
Absolutely.
And I wanted them to hear it, right?
Right. And if I slightly inconvenience someone who's having a bad day and in the process literally changed 300 people's lives, I'm okay with that trade-off.
100%.
No, 100% with that.
What are some of your favorite highlights, Colin?
You know, I talked about the piece of turning the numbers into real people. It's been very neat to see the journey of the podcast. I think one of my other favorite moments is when we actually first started and we were trying to choose a co-host. And I listed off several different people who were like, hey, what about this person, you've got a good vibe. And he said, well, I'd love to do it with you. And I was like, why? And he said, well, you ask really good questions. And it was, I was very honored and still am honored to have been a part of that movement and be able to help you to articulate the strong messages that we have here and to see the lives that it's impact. It's been neat to be part of that.
Well, I think to your credit is, I think one of the other things that was a part of that conversation was that you do ask great questions, but you're also constantly working on yourself, and you understand the mindset things that we're talking about, and like just the way you can articulate a similar message in a different way. And I just thought it would be a great yin and yang, right? And you also have the opportunity to see, shoot, edit all of our videos.
Yes.
And so you hear what I say a lot, and I think it gives you a chance to resonate with it, and you can have one of those trigger part of these conversations to give more value to the people. Right?
100%. Like, oh, this is part of this piece here. One final thing that really stood out to me was when we had several different agents literally join the team because of the podcast.
Yep.
That was like, because hearing real people say, hey, this was really helpful, that's very cool. But hearing that it was so impactful on their life that they're literally changing careers to be part of the team, and they've been thriving and are fantastic people that are also implementing the all or nothing mentality in their business, in their life, that's a huge win to me.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. I love it. And that's going to continue to go. Right?
1,000%. Let's, for this whole piece with consistency, I'm curious, how can people out there who are looking at something like this and go, there's no way I could ever do that? What advice do you have them?
No way they could ever do what?
No way that I could ever do a podcast every week for 2 years. I could do a podcast for like something consistently that's difficult around the theme of consistency, I guess.
Colin, you're trying to make me cuss for my kid.
I know your buttons.
So I don't know how to answer that because I just don't resonate. Like, what do you mean you can't? If it's important to you, find a way. FITFO. Figure the F out, right? Like, figure it out. There's a way. Just get rid of your excuses. Take one step and figure it out as you go. If it's really important to you, if it's really going to impact the part of your life that you want to impact, and you want to give it your all, you will figure it out. If not, don't do it. Maybe it's not for you. You know what? Speaking of Will Grimes, there's something he said in one of his in our podcast that we did, and he said, "You know what?" I asked him something to the effect of, "What advice would you have to agents that are struggling right now?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, this is going to be unpopular, but here's what I think. You asked me." And I said, "All right, let's let it rip."
Yeah.
He said, "Real estate's not for everybody. Maybe you shouldn't make it, and that's fine. Maybe you were meant for something else." And so what I would say to you is, maybe if you think that I can't do this for 1 hour a week for 2 years, maybe it's really not important to you, and maybe you should do something else. But if you're saying, well, but it is important, then figure out a way. Make it happen. Put one foot in front of the other. Figure it out as you go. If you go and listen to, like, go back and look at my videos from, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, like, they suck. We're still not great, but they've improved. You get better over time.
Always.
Right? And so I just think it's important. Just put one foot in front of the other. Get rid of your excuses and just do it.
100%.
Just do it.
Just do it. We're Nike now.
I don't know if that's the advice you wanted, but
I think that's on point. Let's talk about what's ahead here. We've got some, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, some new giving back at a higher level.
Yeah. So there's a lot that we're unpacking. We just did a big brainstorming session for what is all or nothing in real estate going to look like in 2024. And so first and foremost, we're going to give more. Right. We're going to continue podcast once a week. We're going to bring in, we got some special guests already on the list. We're going to do some more. I'm probably going to do some more drop in and just midweek. I got something on my mind, 10 minutes of just passion that we're going to throw in, right? All kinds of stuff like that. We're also revamping our website, allornothingrrealestate.com, with all kinds of resources and tools and trainings and webinars and just value. We also are working on some webinars, right? And so we're going to be doing one webinar a month. Along with that webinar will be an item of value,
Yep.
a proven process that we have in our business that we coach people to, just to really ramp this up and continue. We've given, how can we give more? How can we give it a higher level? How can we do it more consistently? And we are going to be really ramping up the relationships, the contribution, the engagement in our private group, All or Nothing in Real Estate private group.
Yep.
Again, Colin will link that in the show notes.
Yep.
But we did our first live scripting and role play there. I guess it was this week.
It was, yeah.
And had massive success, great feedback from it. So we're going to do whatever's relevant in that as
Yeah.
well, exclusive to that group. So you got to be a part of it. But I think that helps add to the community, right?
For sure.
And then also you can sign up for our newsletter, right? We got a weekly newsletter going out. It's just giving, right? And all of that lines up to probably one of the coolest, probably the highlight of all of this that we've wrapped up is that because of the value that we've been able to give, because of the amazing support of the people that follow this movement, I just launched something that I'm super proud of. I'm partnered with, like, it's crazy to say, like, he is the best real estate leadership coach on the planet. And he chose to partner with me to do a project to deliver a product done for you for real estate agents that want to recruit. And so Jon Cheplak and I partnered on 3 recruiting funnels that convert, built out, done for you, and delivered to your inbox. It's plug and play recruiting machine done for you. This recruiting machine in our business has given us over 7,000 applicants. And they can do the same for you. Probably more, because you're probably in a bigger market than we are. And so, and it's, again, built out, completely built out, delivered to you, done for you. You got to plug and play. And it's a recruiting machine. Like, I've talked about this before, but why did we do a recruiting machine? We looked at the gaps of the industry. Jon coaches the top of the top. I have some coaching clients, and I just see a consistent gap in recruiting, especially in this marketplace. Like, if I were to have an agent were to ask me, or a team leader would ask me, hey, Matt, I'm struggling to get my agents to produce more. You can do one of 2 things. You can spend your time, your energy, your money, your effort trying to convince a human being to do the toughest thing on the planet, which is change their behaviors, or you can bring in someone else who is motivated, inspired, ready to learn, eager to do what's necessary to win, bring them in the environment, then this person witnesses that person having success, and then they make the choice to change versus you trying to force them to change. And then everyone wins and you grow at a higher level. And I think that true growth in organizations happen from the bottom up. And the only way to do that is to bring in more people. And this is a recruiting machine done for you that will consistently bring hand raisers into your organization. You want to learn more about that, go to 3recruitingfunnelscourse.com. It's all spelled out, 3recruitingfunnelscourse.com. Send me a message if you're interested, you have questions. Happy to chat with you about it. But it's a really cool product. We've got tons of people that have already signed up. We're building them out right now for people. It's going to be a game changer product for people that have goals to grow in 2024. It's going to be necessary.
100%. I'm incredibly excited about it. Like you said, partnered with one of the top leaders in all of real estate, being able to give on that new level, because that's what every business is struggling with right now.
Yep.
I guess we're at time. We got to head to another meeting off of All or Nothing. There are some additional things you want to say to close this 100th episode out.
Addie, come here. We're going to close this out with, how old are you? Did you forget? 11. I'm trying to see if she'll talk. So this is my 11-year-old 6th grade Addie. So she's one of my motivating factors to do what I do. Addie, anything you want to say? What? So Colin asked you earlier, what lessons your dad taught you? Give him one lesson that I've taught you.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot, she says. What's one?
It's the piece of all or nothing mentality every single day, isn't it?
You can't remember any. Well, there's a lot. There's too many for her to remember. But I don't know why I wanted to bring you on. I just did. But guys, thank you so much for listening.
100%.
This is a privilege, it's an honor to continue to do this. Thank you for being a part of it. We're just getting started. We're going to ramp this up to a whole nother level. All that I ask is that if you found value from this movement, this podcast, this episode, share it with a friend. We're trying to give back. This is a movement to give back to this amazing industry that has given so much to me and my family, like this little girl. So just share the word. We appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.
Con number 100. We're out, man.
All right. Solid. Take care, everyone.